Hello, Mustang basketball fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. I'm your host, Kelly Loft, Athletic Communications Director at Southwest Minnesota State University, and we talk Mustang basketball again. We look back at last week's two games versus Winona State and Upper Iowa, and the Mustangs beat the Warriors from Winona State, but fall to Upper Iowa. We'll take a look at those highlights and preview this week's game versus Augustana and Wayne State College. And joining us is not the head coach this week. Brad Bigler has this week off, and Chad Welk, Mustang men's basketball assistant, joins us on the show this week to talk about these ball games from the past weekend. The Mustangs beat number 16 Winona State 73-71, a game that went down to the wire. And then the Mustangs, unfortunately, though, could not record the weekend sweep as they lose to Upper Iowa 96-75. A couple of notes from the Winona State game. That was the first time the Mustangs had beaten Winona State in Marshall since 2002, and their first time they've beaten Winona State in the regular season since 2003. So the Mustangs definitely have had some tough luck against the Warriors, but they get some great wins. The great win that Friday night, and but then could not come back against Upper Iowa. We'll see the highlights later on in the show, Coach. But thanks, Chad, for joining us. And that was a great win on Friday night to beat Winona State. Unfortunately, couldn't keep that momentum against the Peacocks of Upper Iowa. But let's talk about Friday's game and the way the guys played, and just made plays down the stretch. It was a tough start, but the Mustangs got the victory in the end.
Yeah, right. We kind of had a little bit of a slow start, which has kind of been our MO, in over the course of the last few games. So some turnovers kind of led to some runouts for those guys. Winona State's a really good basketball team. We know that they're very experienced. They've been in those situations 100,000 times, similar to our guys. And they fought back. Our guys fought back. They did a great job on the glass. Pretty basically, that entire game, which was kind of a deciding factor for us. We were winning a lot of the 50-50 balls. We were going to the glass hard. And, just being able to execute down the stretch, make some plays when we needed them and get stops when we needed them.
Well, the Mustangs shoot 46% in the game, make 6 3-pointers. And Coach talked about it last week. They're just a tough team to run your offense against because they're so long.
Right.
And just talk about how difficult that is.
Right.
I mean, they've got some big guys, obviously, but they make it really tough to pass and penetrate during your
They do, and it was really key for us to kind of loosen them up a little bit in the early going of that game. We knew that they were going to come try to pack us in. They go, 6'6" across the board. Across that guard lineup, and they were long, and there's not a lot of gaps going there. So we need to be able to, make some initial penetrations and make some kicks to some shooters, and luckily those guys were able to knock down, a couple threes while getting some of those guys, in order to loosen that defense up and kind of allow us to get into our secondary actions, which benefited us down the stretch.
You look at the second half, the Mustangs make 4 3-pointers, some big ones from Travis Minders.
Right.
Bernard Birch hit his first 3-pointer of the season.
Of his life.
Those are, exactly. And those are the plays you need to make against a team like that that's nationally ranked. They had an 11-game winning streak heading into it. And great to see other guys step up and make some plays.
Absolutely. In a game like that, it's a concerted effort from everybody. I mean, we need big plays from guys that are coming into playing, roles, and we got that night. We got Travis Miner's battle on the glass. We got Sean Condon played great. Able to hit some shots down the stretch. Bernard was being Bernard and doing a great job. Made some really difficult, as you'll see in the highlights, made some really difficult finishes that were really good for us. Hit his three, which was not a shot that we generally want him to take a lot, but if he's open, knock it down, great. And Sean Condon makes a post move, which we're never going to hear the end of. So he got double teamed, hit a fadeaway jump shot from the baseline, and I think that we've heard about it, every day since for an extended period of time. But
well, the Mustangs really balanced attack scoring-wise. Nick Smith had 18 points, 4 assists, 11 rebounds, a double-double. Bernard Birch, 16 points, 6 assists, and Sean Condon, 14 points as well. And in the process, Bernard Birch became the all-time assist leader at Southwest, surpassing Andrew Pashon's total of 342 during his 4 years, and a great honor for Bernard to get that out of the way early on in the first half. And besides that, made some big shots, as you talked about. He's 6 of 11 from the field, hit the 3-pointer, and he's just made some big-time plays this year and shooting at a high level. I mean, he's shooting over 50%, which is pretty impressive for a point guard.
Absolutely. I mean, he's attacking well. He's finishing well around the rim. He's been able to hit some pull-ups, which I think is key for us. You know, just making sure the guys have to guard him. Teams have to guard him coming off that some of that ball screen stuff that we do in early offense. Him being able to get his feet right and get some of those pull-ups to drop has been really good for us, and then kind of allows us to get into some different secondary actions coming out too.
One key stat to talk about in the ball game: 9 turnovers for Southwest, which is below average. But the next night against Upper Iowa, the Mustangs commit 18 turnovers, and each week we talk about this with Coach, and it's just how imperative it is to hang on to the basketball and not give those extra possessions away and get out easy end run outs for the other team. And you know, we limited the turnovers, and that was a key in getting that win on Friday.
Right. You know, 9 turnovers is about where you need to be in order to compete with a team like Winona State or some of the top teams in our league, and we know that going in. You know, just looking statistically speaking, you know, across the board, a lot of the best teams in the country are finishing right around, finishing games right around 7, 9, 10 turnovers. You know, when you get up to not getting shots off, getting, you know, turnovers, 18 turnovers against Upper Iowa, not a good thing. You know, it's allowing a lot of teams to score with their defense and, you know, just limiting opportunities for limiting scoring opportunities for the Mustangs.
Well, the Mustangs and Warriors went down the stretch, and we'll see the highlights here in a little bit. But the Mustangs got a 4-point lead. Winona came back, made some shots, and we made 1 or 2 free throws to go up 2 in the final 10 seconds ago. And then kind of a wild situation. The Warriors come down, have a ball knocked away. It looks like Bernard Birch has the steal to clinch the win, but he gets the ball taken away, and they get 3 seconds left after the clock ran out, and just kind of talk about what went through those last 3 seconds, because the Warriors called a couple of timeouts. We called one prior to that, and you know, it's tough because there's so much commotion going on in the arena, and everybody's screaming at the officials, and Brad wants an explanation, but in the huddle, you guys got to get prepared to play defense against those final 3 seconds.
You know, and that's the thing. It kind of helped us out a little bit that the Winona State called those extra timeouts, because, you know, after that play with Bernard getting the steal and then not getting the steal, then the time runs out. I mean, it was just utter pandemonium in the gym. We were yelling for a foul on that particular play. We didn't get it, obviously. Then they go back and throw extra time on the clock. But, you know, it kind of gave us an opportunity to kind of check their match, or check the way that they were lining up, and they didn't change the way that they were lining up necessarily too drastically throughout the course of those 3 timeouts coming out of each of them. We were kind of changing what we were doing defensively a little bit on it, and it ended up being all right for us. I mean, we got a really solid contested look. A guy that we didn't necessarily want taking that shot, but ended up getting it off. But it was a contested look. He missed it, you know, and we came out on top. So.
Yep, Mustangs get the win, 73-71 over Winona State. As Coach mentioned, Taylor Cameron, one of the top players for the Warriors, struggled from the arc, 1 of 6, and missed that last 3 at the buzzers. The Mustangs get the victory. The next night, Mustangs welcomed Upper Iowa to the RA facility. And Upper Iowa, a team the Mustangs beat back in December in Fayette, Iowa, and a scary team to say the least. And they shot extremely well, Coach. Not the best game played by your squad, to say the least. 18 turnovers, just 8 assists on 25 field goals. And you know, Mustangs didn't play particularly well, but that's where you got to give credit to Upper Iowa. They made shots and just took control from the get-go, and the Mustangs never led in the game.
No. You know, and that's one thing to Upper Iowa's credit. They came in and they were beating us to every loose ball. They were pounding us on the glass. I think the numbers in the end ended up kind of being relatively even as far as that goes. But looking at throughout the course of the game at the stats, especially in the first half, we were just getting beat to every 50-50 ball. They were keeping plays alive on the glass, extending possessions, you know, and doing everything, you know, that they could in order to win that game. And, you know, a credit to Brooks and Fletch and those guys. They came ready to go, and our guys were living in last night's wonderland, I guess, a little bit.
Exactly. Of course, you look at the numbers rebounding-wise, Mustangs 33-32 advantage, but those numbers always can be misleading because Upper Iowa shot 56%, so they're not going to have many opportunities to get rebounds, and they had 10 offensive rebounds, 22 to 14 points off of turnovers, and their bench played extremely well, and that sometimes can be misleading as well, but most of the time our bench has really been outscoring a lot of teams, and they did a good job of just shutting down Travis Miners and Sean Condon, and all in all, it was just pretty much a good old-fashioned beatdown by the Peacocks.
Yeah, we got whipped, and they were doing some things on some ball screens, in our offense. They were guarding some things a little bit differently that gave us a little bit of trouble early on. I feel like that we adjusted pretty well down the stretch. But by the time, when you take into account the 18 turnovers, I mean, it's difficult. If you're not getting shots, it's really difficult to make a run back,
Yeah, and of course, the Mustangs and Nick Smith, leading scorer and rebounder, just 4 points and 3 rebounds in the game. Only had 5 shots off in the contest, 2 of 5 from the field. What was the big difference from Friday night to Saturday? Obviously, the Peacocks did a lot more doubling down and whatnot. And if they do, then we need somebody to make a 3 from long range to kind of spread them out.
Right, and we weren't hitting shots, and I think that was part of it. Nick Smith he's a good passer. I mean, he's had his trouble coming out of double teams from time to time, but I think ultimately he does a good job of seeing the floor. He has a very good passing presence. We need the guys to knock down shots from the perimeter in order to loosen some stuff up for him.
Yeah, the Mustangs did not shoot particularly well from long range, 6 of 20 from three-point range. Joey Bartlett, just 1 of 7, one of the top three-point shooters on the Mustang squad. Just didn't have it that night. Will Giddings had a nice game, though, for the Mustangs, 21 points. That's a career high. He had 8 rebounds and made 4 three-pointers. And Southwest down at half by 8, got it to 4 early in the half, and then fell behind by 20. You get it down to 11 with about 10 to go, and had the ball a couple of times to get the single digits. And so important. If we score there, maybe things just could change, and you get that momentum back.
Right. Getting a shot, hitting the shot. We took a 3 at that point when we had when we were down 11. We had the ball coming down. Took a wide open 3. Had a great look at it. If that shot goes down, that changes the complexion of that game. Changes the way the teams that they're guarding to the way that we're guarding a little bit. And, to Upper Iowa's credit again, I mean, those guys were hitting shots, and we just weren't ready to defend. David Wood did a great job coming off of the ball screens, finding guys. I mean, he was creating shot opportunities for himself and for other guys, and they shot well from behind the arc, and we were, and some of those shots were against up contested hands, high hand finishes, and everything like that, and we just weren't getting it done. Those shots were going.
Yeah, the Peacocks scored 96 points, beat the Mustangs 96-75. That's the most points allowed by Southwest this season, and the Peacocks shoot 56% in the game, 67% in the second half, and that's when you're trying to rally back, and it's just so disheartening when they would make some shots. They go 5 of 5 from long range, and it all starts on that defensive end. And the Mustangs, the last couple of weeks now, have allowed teams to score some points and shoot very high percentages. And I suppose that just comes down to that effort on both ends of the floor. It's fun to score, but to win, you got to play good defense as well.
It does. We needed to do a better job competing on the basketball. I felt like, especially early in the Upper Iowa game, we weren't doing a great job competing on the ball. We weren't doing a great job containing the dribble, which was allowing those guys to get, like, conversely, they were getting to their secondary actions. They were able to hit make some kicks to open shooters. We were having to help up. They were getting some easy dump downs, and when we're coming down the stretch there in that second half, when we have our opportunities to make those runs, they were running some pick and pop stuff with their 5s that he was hitting 3s, and it's just, what are you going to do? That's pretty deflating, but. Our guys battled. We kept working. We came back, on Monday, and we got a week to prepare for. We got a tough week ahead of us.
Definitely got to move on now. The Mustangs are 11-7 overall and 8-4 in the Northern Sun Conference, tied for 3rd place in the NSIC South, and right there tied for 4th in the NSIC overall standings, as well as the Mustangs prepare for a couple of games on the road this weekend at Wayne State and Augustana. We'll talk more about that here shortly, but let's take a look at the highlights versus Winona State last week, Coach. And again, the Mustangs here in this opening half start with the basketball going right to left, and Mustang shot a high clip, 48%, and Will, good to see him get going with a three-pointer, Coach. And then here's Nick Smith with a couple of nice plays too, going one-on-one against the Warriors.
Absolutely. Yep. They weren't bringing a double team, and Nick's got good footwork and able to get a couple step throughs and get going.
Will Giddings, as you mentioned, had 8 points, a couple of shots here in the first half, hit a 3, and nice tough shot there. Nice action to the rim, and here's Nick Smith again. Nick finished the night 7 of 16. Gets the friendly bounce, 18 points, 11 rebounds. And as you mentioned, good passing here by Nick, finding Matt Zager.
Coming out, recognizing that little backdoor Mitch Weg on the cut. Mitch Weg does a great job of seeing opportunities and making slips, and we need to do a good job of making sure that we're hitting him on those.
Yeah,
too.
Mitch Weg 8 points, 8 rebounds in the Mustang victory. You saw Sean Condon with the basket.
Great pass by Bernard right
There's
there.
Bernard to Nick, and then here's a steal coming up for Bernard, just pickpocketing Taylor Cameron for the steal. And here's a three-pointer for Matt Zager, just his only basket of the game.
Yeah, those guys made the long guards made it a little bit rough on Zags last week, but he did a good job knocking that one down.
Saw the extra pass there by the Mustangs, started up by Drew Osmondson, and here's Drew, redshirt freshman. Good take to the rack.
Yeah, and Drew's shooting the ball with a little bit more confidence, which is good to see.
And there's that offensive rebound by Weg, tipping it in. Guys off the bench.
This is what we're talking about.
Here's the post move double.
There we go. He throws that one in there.
A little fadeaway, Sean Condon. And then here's just the Bernard Birch show here, making some tough shots, Coach.
There's that pull-up we're talking about right there. Loosen it up a little bit.
Birch, 6 of 11, 16 points, and boom, from 18 feet. And he caps it off with another one. As the Mustangs trail most of the first half. This one here in the second half, they call this a 3 or a 2. Ooh. Pretty obvious that was a three-pointer, but they called it a 2.
And maybe his shoes were blending in with the line.
It could have been.
Real white shoes.
Despite the fact there is a replay, and
didn't get it done.
Didn't get that, but Sean then drills a 3 in the left corner, and the Mustangs, nice pass, Birch over to Nick Smith, and then Condon again.
And good movement, good drive by Zags. Dump down to Nick. Sean hits it.
Extra pass by Nick Smith, making that all possible. And then think of the old days here. Travis Minders, again, beautiful pass over to Nick Smith. And Travis, nice job, had assist, 4 points, and hit a big 3. Here coming up, here's Mitch Weg posting up. And Bernard finding it and getting the layup over to Weg with the assist. And then, as you mentioned, Minders spins it off here at the top of the key.
Deep. Knocking it down. He's capable of hitting from that distance, so we kind of held our breath a little bit, but it went in, so we're happy.
Getting his first big minutes since being eligible here in the second half following his transfer. And then Condon here in the left corner. Drills a long 2 again.
Yeah, Sean hit some big shots coming down the stretch in this game for us.
And here is the 3 set up here by Nick Smith, finding Bernard Birch open, moving away from the basketball. And finding that open man, and then wrapping up here this ball game, Nick Smith, and then Bernard Birch fouled here late in the last minute or so.
Double team coming, good finish there, spinning away from it.
Difficult shot. And then here's down the stretch. Mustangs up by a point. Bernard's fouled and hits 1 of 2 as the Mustangs, he makes 1 of 2 as you mentioned, and the Mustangs go up 73-71 at that moment. And then as you mentioned, the timeouts by Winona State, they had a chance to win the game with the 3. They elect to go for the win, and the Mustangs able to secure that as the ball was rimmed off, and the Mustangs get the win 73-71 over the Winona State University Warriors. Then the next night, as we mentioned, Upper Iowa coming to town, and the Peacocks, again, a team the Mustangs beat earlier this season, but again, you're playing a team that knows a lot about our system, and as you mentioned, Brooks, assistant coach last year for Southwest, and Matt Fletcher, who's played in this program as well, and it really brings an interesting dynamic when really everybody in the conference, you know pretty much everything because you play against them so often. But certain teams just have that certain matchup problems, and Upper Iowa really took it, had that for us on Saturday.
Yeah, they did. And Brooks and Fletch knew. I mean, they know a lot about our offense. It meant a lot to them coming back and playing in the RA. Fletch coming home back to Marshall for the first time, and Brooks for the same reason, playing against us. So it was a big game for them as well.
And it was definitely a tough one for the Mustangs. As you take a look at the highlights against the Peacocks, there were some highlights despite the loss, but the Mustangs and Upper Iowa, as We look now to this Saturday night affair, and the Peacocks just jumped out early, never trailed, as you mentioned. Joey Bartlett, nice to get him going. He hits a three early on, but that was his only one of the contest. And there you see a jumper by Giddings, and then big three-pointer by Will, and he had a nice night.
Will played really hard. He did a great job on the glass, had 8 rebounds, was hitting shots, was really doing a good job attacking the glass, and was very aggressive on both ends of the floor, which was good to see.
Matt Zager, floater in the lane, gets that to go. Matt with a better night scoring-wise, had 8 against the Peacocks.
Pull-up roll.
Gets that one to bounce in there, and he's a key figure coach, and when he's scoring, it's just to add another dimension, that can, be a tough guard for a lot of teams when he's scoring.
It is. It helps us open up a lot of things when Zager's able to create for himself and score the basketball.
Here's Bernard Birch trying to draw some contact, still gets the ball to go in, and here's Mitch Weg, again, moving away from the basketball and gets the nice pass and score from Nick Smith, and then a big offensive rebound by Weg here. It's tipped away and right into the hands of Weg.
Yep. Got to get Nick to quit putting that ball on the deck, don't we?
Yeah, that's correct, and that led to some turnovers. And Joey Bartlett in the lane gets the Mustangs back on the board. Mustangs then Bernard Birch steals and goes the length of the court here and gets things set up and lays it off the window.
Right to the rim.
Will Giddings with a layup here.
You notice from all these highlights, they made it difficult on us for a lot of shots here.
A nice dunk by Joey Bartlett. We're going to see another big dunk here later on in the ball game with Will Giddings. Again, the Mustangs just trying to fight back from a 20-point deficit, and you got to do it on both ends. Mustangs, put up 45 points in this half, but gave up 58. You see Condon. Here's a 3 by Giddings, and then a big-time dunk here and a couple of highlights after this Bartlett.
Will's in rhythm, hitting those shots. He's tough to contest once he gets up. He can jump, get off the ground a little bit.
Here's Joey Bartlett off a pass from Zager, and then all of a sudden, just down the lane, you weren't really expecting Will to dunk this one, but he's got some ability. And he draws the foul, the and one, which you're going to get almost every time.
That's a big momentum play right there.
It was, and able to convert the three-point play. Mustangs then lay it up. Nick Smith off the pass with Birch. Bernard driving again. Unfortunately for the Mustangs, just a little bit too little, too late, as the Peacocks score 58 points in that second half and hold on to the victory and win for the first time ever against the Mustangs in Marshall. Condon hits the 3, and Will Giddings wraps it up here with a basket late, and he finished with 21 points, as you mentioned, a career high for Will. But the Mustangs just not able to come away with the victory as they drop to 11-7 overall and 8-4 in the conference. And Mustangs this weekend, Coach, as you mentioned, get back at work this week, Monday, starting practice, and need to forget about that. Now go on the road, and 6 of our next 8 games are away from the RA facility, 2 this weekend at Wayne State and Augustana. It seems a long time ago when we played those teams. It was the first weekend in December, but Wayne State's played well, got some good wins on the road this season, and they're a difficult team as well. We had some success against them the first time, but these 2 games are very important, and obviously got to get Friday night first.
Yeah, I'd say that Wayne State's a much different team. We have a lot of respect for Coach Dolan. We knew that he'd get those guys going in the right direction. He's definitely done that. They were able to split over the weekend and won a couple tough games the week prior up at Minot and Mary. So they've been working hard. They're getting better every week, and we'll be ready to play against some of their stuff.
Yeah, that's an 8 o'clock start on Friday at Wayne State in Wayne, Nebraska, and then Saturday Augustana at Sioux Falls, and they've got 2 of the top players in the conference, and Daniel Jansen and Casey Schilling, and that was a game went down the wire here in Marshall. Bernard Birch hit the basket with 10 seconds to go to give the Mustangs a win, and it's difficult to play anywhere in the conference. We've had some tough luck against the Vikings in Sioux Falls. Have not won there since 2004, but just an important road trip to see what these guys can do. As Coach says, you really find out what kind of team you are when you go on the road.
Oh, absolutely. And we're expecting a similar game to what we saw here in the Elman Center on Saturday night. It's going to be a battle. we know what to expect from those guys. I know that our guys will be ready to go too and ready to compete. So.
It should be a fun night. That's 6 o'clock in Sioux Falls at the Elman Center on the campus of Augustana College as the Mustangs play 2 games on the road before returning to the RA facility January 31st for Bemidji State, and then Hawaiian night February 1st against Minnesota Crookston. So some big games as we get into February here, just a week or so away, and then things start. You look at the standings a little bit more closer after every week is to see as the teams fight for positioning in the conference tournament and ultimately trying to get into the NCAA tournament as well. So that's going to wrap up this week's show. Coach Welk, thanks for stopping in here and filling that seat very well here this week for Coach Bigler. We appreciate you stopping by, and we appreciate you for watching. For Assistant Coach Chad Welk, I'm Kelly Law. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler here at Studio One, Marshall Cable Access, and online at smsumustangs.com. Until next time, go Mustangs.